My name is Ambria Hawkins, and I will be introducing each speaker on the program. And I'd like to start with Miss Kimberly Penny. She's the Parkside High principal.
Thank you, and welcome. I'm Kimberly Penny, Parkside principal and principal of the Career and Technology Education Center. Wacomico County CTE Center is located inside Parkside High School, but it also serves all the high school students throughout our county. As I mentioned, I am the principal of this building. Tara Obarski is the assistant principal. Mrs. Valerie Hughes is our outstanding counselor who just joined us this year in this new role, but Valerie has been teaching and counseling our students in Wacomico County for the past 20 years at Pittsville Elementary and Middle School. And of course, Mr. Brian Ashby, who is the CTE supervisor. Let me first start by offering a special thank you and our sincere gratitude to the Maryland FFA Foundation for sponsoring this evening's dinner and this program showcase. Recently, I spoke to a group of community members about our successes in our schools. I gave several examples as success is evaluated and interpreted in many different ways based on the setting and the expectations. I'd like to highlight some examples of our successes in this program here tonight. First and foremost, success is Mr. Jerry Kelly. Mr. Kelly is one of the most dedicated teachers I have ever had the pleasure to know. Mr. Kelly deserves a great deal of credit for the successes of this program and for the successes of his students. We are all very fortunate to have him on our team. Success is also our A+ Garden Center, possibly the largest high school greenhouse garden center enterprise in the United States. I have a long list. One of 2 high schools in the U.S. designated an All-American Selections Display Garden. We are a certified proven winners garden center. We have the first 4 Maryland students to be selected by the Global Youth Institute as the World Food Prize Scholars. Let me repeat that. There are 4 scholars in Maryland, and they are all from Parkside CTE. We have the first Maryland USDA Wallace Carver Fellow student, Gabrielle Morris. We were awarded Maryland Green School status last year. We are a sanctioned National Wildlife Habitat Corridor. We were selected for Lexicon of Sustainability's Project Localize, the first in our region. We were selected as the #1 Maryland FFA National Chapter Award recipient this year. And thank you. And most importantly, success is the fact that our students' initiatives, accomplishments, and opportunities are supported by an array of active partners individually and organizations at the school, local, state, and national level each and every year. To all of our community partners, thank you for giving of your time and expertise to help our programs and our students be successful. It is through these partnerships and Mr. Kelly's extraordinary efforts that our FFA programs and students continue to excel in the field, at the collegiate level, and in the workplace. We are truly grateful for each of you. Last, but so vital to the success of our programs and our schools, thank you to our Wacomico County community and school leaders for continuing to support our school and CTE programs, both financially and otherwise. I hope each of you know we are infinitely more successful because of your support and guidance. It is through the support of all of our stakeholders that we continue to be the best CTE program on the East Coast. Before I conclude, I must thank Mr. Hilligoss and the culinary students for preparing this wonderful gourmet meal for us this evening. Also, thank you to Mr. Kelly and the horticulture students for the beautiful plants which transform our school cafeteria into an upscale dining facility. Thank you to our coordinators, Joy, Rose, Jen, and Allison, who always do such a wonderful job coordinating and decorating each event so beautifully. We are truly grateful for each of you. So without further ado, I will turn the microphone over to Mr. Brian Ashby, the supervisor of CTE, for his remarks. Again, welcome to Parkside High School and Career and Technology Education Center. Enjoy your evening.
I want to begin by recognizing everyone here tonight who supports the Parkside FFA chapter, the outstanding horticulture program offered here, and most importantly, the students who benefit from Mr. Kelly's instruction. I want to specifically recognize our local elected officials who were here tonight, civic leaders, those associated with FFA and the Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation, all those associated with governmental and post-secondary. They are our partners in this venture. Our Project Localized partners, which as you go down the hall to the classroom, you're going to see a lot of artwork, and they're all stakeholders in what we do here at Parkside CTE. I want to pay special recognition to our friends at the Ward Museum, who embrace outdoor education and most recently showed their support for Parkside becoming a green school. If we have members from the Ward Museum, if you'd please stand. Having those folks next door makes life a lot easier, so thank you for being here. I also want to recognize Mr. Pegg. I know he may not be here with us this evening, but he was instrumental in assisting this afternoon. His assistance does not go unnoticed. I am extremely proud of all things that this FFA chapter has been able to accomplish. I was fortunate both in middle and high school to be a member of FFA, went on to earn my American FFA degree, and then went on to become a state officer while attending Virginia Tech. I then was an agricultural education instructor and had a large FFA chapter, but nothing quite like what Mr. Kelly has done in this short time period. I believe much of my work ethic came from not only being a part of a family who farmed, but also my involvement with FFA. I can do just about anything today I learned while being a part of FFA, other than squeezing into my blue corduroy jacket. Wasn't even going to chance it. So once again, I thank each and every one of you for attending tonight. I sincerely appreciate your collective efforts to support our mission here, to educate students and have them become productive members of society beyond graduation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ashby. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Bob Culver.
Thank you so much. What an honor it is to be here tonight amongst so many talented students, and your future's so much in your grasp. There's still so much to do. Wycomico County is proud of its agriculture. You have to know that Wycomico County is always either first in the state or second, sometimes between Caroline, but usually we're first. And this is going to be left to you all to continue that tradition. So we're very proud of you. Know that anybody that works in our government is more than willing to help in any way we can with any student at any time. So anything you need from one of our council people, we have several here tonight, myself, we'd be more than happy to help you. We're very proud of you. So, and again, I want to thank Mr. Kelly for everything he's done. A couple of years ago, I attended an open house, and he talked me into buying some honey. You know, obviously he's gotten a lot of you in here for this honey, didn't he? So, each year I come back and buy a bottle, maybe 2 bottles. I didn't know the difference between Clover honey versus, every type that he has there. But I can tell you, I have not had a cold for 2.5 years or been sick with the flu. So whatever it is, I suggest you all come back this year and get a bottle. So thank you so much and congratulations, kids.
Thank you, Mr. Culver. Now I would like to introduce Mr. George Mayo.
Thank you very much. I can't believe you're a politician. You're done already. It was amazing. You have opened the door. My name is George Mayo. I'm the Executive Director of the Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation, and we're really so proud to be able to provide some assistance here and be partners with Parkside and the miracles that actually do happen here. First of all, I want to introduce our staff, if I may. Dave Miller, who's our high school post-secondary education director. David. We have Terry Shank, who is our executive director for Maryland FFA, as well as she holds many hats. She's also our assistant director of high school and post-secondary education. And we have Naomi Knight, who's our program coordinator for Maryland FFA. So happy to have them. I'm actually, by training, I'm saying this because of careers. Think about careers. I'm actually trained as an ornamental horticulturist. So coming to a school that has these greenhouse operations that are exemplary, and the thing I like the best about what Mr. Kelly does here is he empowers his students. He's not telling them what to do, they're telling him what they need in order to do what they need to do. So that's an enormous benefit of most schools don't have that opportunity. I also want to say that when I reflect on meeting Jerry Kelly and seeing him now that he's completely shaved, I'm thinking that the guy's got to be a genie. We have to get him a turban and some earrings, and because every time he thinks of something, he makes it happen, and maybe with a blinker a little bit more, but he makes it happen. And we're proud of FFA, but I'm so glad that these students are also they have the opportunity to be part of the Manners program, part of 4-H, and the whole World Food Prize thing. When Gabby got her national award, everybody in the state was proud. So you all have really plowed some amazing territory here under the really good direction, and I'm so proud to be here tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayo. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Zack Evans.
Started walking earlier. Hi, I'm honored to be here tonight. My name's Zack Evans, and I'm wearing a couple hats tonight. So I'll start by saying that working with Jerry and the folks here, the young leaders here within the FFA chapter at Parkside High School has completely blown me away. I'm a loan officer here in Salisbury for Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit, and I'd like to take a brief second to thank the folks who have come all the way over from Westminster from Farm Credit. We've got a few here in the crowd, and I appreciate them making the trip down, because Farm Credit certainly recognizes the importance of developing young leaders, and especially advocates for agriculture. So I want to preface this next part by saying I didn't have the opportunity to attend a high school where there was an FFA program. So to me, FFA, I understood the old acronym, which is 30 years ago. They've long since rebranded as the FFA Foundation, but for a long time I recognized that to be Future Farmers of America. And in working with Jerry and the young leaders here at Parkside High School, it's really opened my eyes to just how much they do in terms of leadership development, professional training, and preparing these young folks to go out and hit the ground full speed after graduation and really make an impact within their communities. I'm also the president of the Wicomico County Fair and the Wicomico Farm and Home Show here locally. So that was, I think, how Jerry and I begun our relationship a few years ago. And he'll tell you that I've certainly roped him into some cumbersome projects. And while most people would find those challenges to be overwhelming at times, Jerry has an uncanny ability, as George said, to put his mind to something and make things happen. And we've talked a lot about the impact that he's had on the program, but more importantly, I'd like to talk about the impact that the members of the FFA chapter here at Parkside have had to a community organization, a community nonprofit like the Farm and Home Show. We challenged them with a project late this year, about 30 days prior to the end of the school year, in all honesty. And it was something that we had been working on at the county fair, and we just didn't have the manpower and the resources to bring it all together. So within a week or so of reaching out to Jerry, he had coordinated students to come in the summer after school was done. They didn't have to be here, to complete a project on behalf of a community nonprofit. And we see these kids and these young folks, and I don't want to call them kids. We see these young leaders at the fair each year participating and helping us in any capacity they can. But to see them take time out of their summer vacation, I think that's just a really small snippet of the effort that these young people put in to developing themselves and furthering their potential to really have an impact on their community. So on behalf of Farm Credit, but also on behalf of the county fair, I'd just like to give them a big round of applause for everything they've done. I know the program here at Parkside, the chapter, is still relatively new, but with an advisor like Jerry, I think the sky is the limit. And I look forward to leaning on him for years to come, as long as we've got projects at the county fair, and we'll certainly do everything we can to give back. And I'd just take a moment, because I recognize that here on the agenda, I saw a number of folks who've made the trip over from MDA, from Annapolis, so thank you guys for being here as well to support FFA and the program, and especially the chapter here at Parkside. So I appreciate the time, and again, kudos to everything you're doing, and keep it up, because the sky is the limit. You've got the whole world ahead of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Karl Benz.
Good evening. Good evening. All right, y'all know I'm tall. Okay, clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you look good tonight. Okay. My name is Karl Benz, and I have the honor of serving as, actually, very recently now, the head of development for the School of Agricultural and Natural Sciences. But I have been working with Jerry for going on 4 years now, and it's been an amazing ride. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the other folks I see here from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. If you're with the university or extension, would you please stand up and be recognized? So I also have some members from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore's nationally recognized Manners chapter here with us tonight. And Parkside was actually the very first junior Manners site in the state of Maryland. So we're very proud of that, and Parkside is known throughout the country for everything that they're doing here. One of the things that it has been very special to me to work with Jerry is to really help students find a way to pay for school and find a new career path and a passion that they may not have known about before. So with that being said, I just want to toss a few bullet points out there for you guys. So last year, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore handed out, between admissions, the Department of Agriculture, and the honors program, we handed out $47,000 to Maryland FFA students. Yes, please clap it up for that. One of the things we are very dedicated to investing in the Maryland FFA and really using Parkside as a launching pad for that. Please just, if you see Jerry running around here, please tell him thank you for all the hard work that he does. And at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, we are committed to the community, and we are committed to being a strong partner here at Parkside High School CTE. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benz. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Brett Karp.
Good evening. Oh. All right. Hi, I'm Brett Karp with Griffin Greenhouse Supply, I work with Jerry and the students. I don't want to say Jerry's kids. Jerry and the students on selecting the best plant material to bring in using the best vendors and what works both locally and logistically. But anyway, so Jerry wanted me to come in, say a few words. So I'm not really a speaker, so I did write down a few words to read. But before I do that, I was with a customer today, and it's probably sad to say, but we were talking about how there's more gardeners probably passing away every day than there are being born. So this is great to see the program that's here at Parkside and all the different aspects of horticulture that Jerry's got everybody involved in. So again, it's inspiring to see what Jerry and his students have done here at Parkside. They've created a small business by growing, planting, selling, and marketing all their plants. Russell Powell, a colleague of mine with Griffin Greenhouse, we were pleased to be able to work with Jerry and the students and assist them with any concerns that they have and watch as they truly see the fruits of their labor. I don't have any other high school around that successfully runs an active garden center. I've been there where someone pulls up and they know to jump out and go and serve the customer. So they produce, grow, sell multiple varieties of annuals, perennials, herbs, and vegetables. And I like how Jerry challenges his students to achieve certain accomplishments. For example, they're one of 2 high schools in the country that are part of the All-American Selection Trialing Program. That's something that's normally reserved for huge growers or big vendors. They also, were researching the Guinness World Book of Records and seeking out a record they could break and how they could do it. They didn't just seek it out, they actually broke that record, and it was a total team effort from, prepping and planning. Parkside gets to learn and experience all aspects of horticulture, from greenhouse growing to beekeeping. They're also being part of what's called the Project Localize, was mentioned. That's an educational program that helps classrooms identify and promote sustainable, economic, cultural, and social progress in their communities. Jerry also encourages his kids to study and become a certified professional horticulturalist. I'm so pleased to be affiliated with the program and wish the students at Parkside and Jerry nothing but continued success in the future. And in addition to Russell and I and Jenny Rosenkrantz, with the extension, and a lot of the master gardeners are there on his May 1st event, where everybody gets students help each one of us plant and display, and it's a contest, a bed with the All-American Selection. So keep it up, great job, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you, Mr. Karp. Now I'd like to introduce Autumn Lippi.
Good evening. I'm Autumn Lippi, and I'm serving as the Maryland FFA State President. On behalf of the Maryland FFA Association, I would like to thank you for having my teammates Ashley, Justin, and Kaylin and myself here this evening. The Maryland FFA Association cannot thank the Foundation enough for all they do for our organization. Without their help and effort through community members and sponsors, our members would not be able to demonstrate what they have learned in the classroom through CTE events held throughout the year. The Foundation supports members in reducing costs for them to attend activities as well as conferences and multiple events. Everything creating opportunity members for them to create their own legacies. Because of the FFA Foundation support to our members, they assure the future of agriculture by developing future agricultural leaders and just leaders in general. I'd also like to thank the Parkside culinary students who are preparing this meal and say thank you and congratulate them for all their success this past year, as well as thanking Mr. Kelly and the Parkside FFA students who have hosted us for this event this evening, and congratulate them on all that they do and will continue to do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lippi. Now I'd like to introduce Gabrielle Morris.
Hi, can y'all hear me? No? Yes. Okay. Hi, my name is Gabrielle Morris, a former Parkside student, Parkside horticulture student, and a current UMES agriculture student. I would like to thank the FFA Foundation for having this event and inviting me to speak. I would like to thank Mr. Kelly and Mr. Benz for helping me get to where I am now. The FFA, 4-H, and manners programs have given me a lot of experience in preparing me to pursue my passion for agriculture. While being at Parkside, I was in the horticulture program and realized that agriculture is everything, and we wouldn't really have much without agriculture. Over the past years, I've had opportunities to learn and participate in varied agricultural experiences. My first time traveling was to Houston, Texas, for the Manners Conference in 2014. And in 2015, I went to the Global Youth Institute World Food Prize in Iowa to present my research on the agricultural impacts of climate change in Jamaica. In December 2015, I went to the White House to share my research. And I was also a Wallace Carver Fellow, and I went to Utah. As a Wallace Carver Fellow, I was invited back to be a group leader, and I would like to thank everyone for your support of Parkside's FFA horticulture program, and I'm looking forward to speak to you after the dinner in the classroom.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Now I'd like to introduce Jerry Kelly.
God, that light's killing me. All right. Anyway, can you guys hear me? It's kind of weird. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming here. I also wanted to thank as well the FFA Foundation and the FFA family for allowing us this opportunity to have you all here on the Eastern Shore. It's really special. It means a lot. I also want to thank you all for the kind words. However, I do agree with George when he mentioned actually the students really are in charge, and in that regard, I believe we're sort of have a unique relationship and experience. With all the support, it makes it a the opportunities that the students have to develop what they initiate with all the support from our community, I think is really unique. So in that regard, I want to thank each and every one of you. Really appreciate the support that we have here at the school. It's sort of a unique situation, as Brett said over here, that we run a business. It's a wonderful thing when you're running a business to be surrounded with the CTE professionals that we have here at Parkside. I mean, anytime you need to get something done, there's someone with expertise. As well as in our hallway, we have the art department, which tonight we're going to be premiering some artwork as well as what the students have been working on. And Miss McElroy is somewhere around here, our art teacher. Thank you for being here. So anyway, next week is American Education Week, if you didn't know. However, we figured we would get a jump on American Education Week by having American Pre-Education Week. So we premiered a lot of projects and activities this week. Sunday, Layla Renshaw, which is over here, she designed last year a landscape beautification project for elementary school. We grew the plants and planted them this past Sunday. Monday, we premiered with the Ward Museum, a stream after school program where students from the elementary school come visit the A+ Garden Center, and we talk about growing plants, and we planted plants. So thank you, the Ward Museum, for that. Also this week, we premiered publicly, which you guys will have a chance. We're premiering our spring catalog and our spring collection for spring. So I think we're a little ahead of schedule. Most people, gardeners right now, if you're a serious gardener, you want to get stuff in your mind where you're going. And so we're usually try to be the first in the area to have that available. Then American Education Week on Monday, we have along with the MAIF and Peggy Epic at MAIF and the farm-based education, we're having a workshop here. And Dean Burrows, I don't know where Dean, we're having in the morning Monday here, Beekeeping 101, if anyone wants to join us. And then in the afternoon, Henriette Dowden will be here talking about health and herbs, okay? And we're gonna be starting our own herb garden as well, so please join us. And then, of course, Brett mentioned it, May 1st, you're all invited to our AAS garden launch that we do each year. And now that I have your emails, I'll send you a reminder. So with that, I also am proud to say tonight that we were fortunate. Karen Hutchinson, I don't know where Karen is, was talked, you know, I met her recently. There she is. And, oh, I see you back there. Anyway, she was instrumental in bringing to the attention of the national FFA, I guess, Horizon magazine, which is the national publication for the FFA organization. And I'm glad to say next week, I believe, we'll be featured in that magazine. Our program will be featured in that magazine, which goes out to like 700, 800,000 people across the country. So look for that. But anyway, I really do appreciate all the support. I mean, nothing happens until something happens or something's done. And what's been done here is a collective effort from the whole community. It's very special. At this time, I would like to invite Richard Colburn from the Maryland Department of Agriculture.
The Secretary of Agriculture, Joe Bartenfelder, wanted to be here, and the last second he was unable to be here, so I'm representing him and the governor. We appreciate all the work you've done with this FFA chapter. Certainly, as many of you know, agriculture is the #1 industry in the state of Maryland, certainly here on the Eastern Shore, but for that to be sustained, and everybody talks about sustainability, we need young farmers, and FFA will promote that. It's a viable industry, and again, even though sometimes the Secretary of Commerce doesn't like to admit it, it's a #1 industry. In Maryland, we certainly know that, particularly with the Delmarva poultry industry here on the Eastern Shore. So we're proud of what you're doing. You're our future young FFA leaders. And without further ado, on behalf of the governor and Secretary of Agriculture from the Maryland Department of Agriculture, I have a citation awarded to Parkside High School CTE on this, the 9th day of November in the year of our Lord 2017, in recognition of your school being honored as Maryland's outstanding agriculture program by FFA directors and for being featured in an upcoming issue of the National FFA New Horizons magazine. The department also commends your A+ Garden Center, which is one of the largest school-based businesses in the country, through the efforts of Mr. Jerry Kelly, his colleagues, and the outstanding students of Parkside High School CTE. The agricultural community will continue to grow. Signed by the Secretary of Department of Agriculture, Joe Bartenfelder. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Mr. Charles Otto, if you don't mind. I know it's a surprise. If you would like to say a few words.
Well, I thank you. I'm proud to see the blue corduroy jackets with the ear of corn and all here tonight, and my former state FFA advisor, Dave Miller, was here when I was a state officer in 1982 and 83. We had things a little different organized then, and I'm proud to see you here, and I'm glad the good work that they're doing here in Parkside. It was Y High had the chapter, and my uncle was a former ag teacher here in Wycomico County and moved on. The FFA really built CTE. The programs that the FFA had established, that's why he went into the center off of Lake Street and built that program and went on to be an administrator and things and principal and that built the whole program. And that's what we're success today. And thank goodness we're getting back to the basics, that we need trades and skills, and that I don't know about psychology and political science degrees. I don't think they produce a whole lot, to be quite honest with you, but because I deal with them pretty regularly, at least for 90 days. Delegate Carozza is here with me too tonight and dealing with it, but I keep up the good work. I mean, the FFA taught me the parliamentary procedure, the conducting meetings, the organization. I mean, well, of course, record keeping, that I'm still lacking in that. But they worked hard at me to keep those records and know where the bottom line is. And I can sort of sift through that too, because it taught me to add and subtract and multiply and divide. And as the opportunities, as some of the young ladies have said, where they went, you know, I can remember the 24-hour bus ride from Baltimore to Kansas City for the FFA convention. I did that twice. So keep up the good work, and thank you for keeping this program alive, because it provides, it gets back to basics, and it's a foundation that you'll cherish the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otto. Appreciate for you being here tonight. The next, I'm honored to have Marybeth Carozza, our delegate, here. Thank you for being here.
I'm very excited to accept your invitation to be here tonight. It started for me when I was, the invitation when I found out about the National FFA Award. First of all, it's a big deal. Let's hear it for that. You're receiving national recognition. And so I want to make briefly 2 points. One, when I was making my rounds at the fair, that's when I ran into Mr. Kelly and Em and Brooke. Where are they? Are they somewhere here? Anyway, and they were telling me all about the honey and what was going on at the school, and you could just see the energy. Where they're okay, and it was just so exciting to hear. You know, they're explaining what's going on, and you know, then next thing I know, Mr. Kelly's telling me that you all are receiving a national award. I'm like, this is terrific. And that's why I'm here. But there's also a bigger point I want to make, and this is really to the other students that may not be involved in FFA, our future students, our parents, our guidance counselors maybe in middle school. But CTE is where it's at. I mean, when we talk about career, technology, trades, education. And I wanted to send this message tonight because after I was elected in 2014, I had employers come to me just a couple months afterwards, local employers that came to me and said, Marybeth, there is a need for skilled workforce on the shore. And we need to make sure that our programming in the schools, K through 12, our partners, UMES, Salisbury University, Warwick, that we're working with the employers, putting the programs in place, so we basically have that feeder line of our students receiving the education, you know, real skills, and then having the opportunities if they want to stay on the shore for higher ed, and then the opportunities that afterwards that the jobs are here. And so what excites me about tonight is that you have put it all together. You're honoring your FFA student leaders, you have your employers that have been part of your program, you have your higher ed partners, you have your school partners, and so this is what's going to make it work, and I wanted to be here tonight to encourage it and to strengthen that. So this is a big night, not only for the FFA students, and you all deserve that credit and that national honor, but it's also a big night for CTE in general. So I want to continue to support you and encourage these partnerships. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Marybeth. And have a special guest today, our one and only mayor from Salisbury, Mr. Jake Day.
Good evening. How we doing? All right. So your wonderful principal and vice principal, I think, have invited me here enough to the Parkside Auditorium in the last couple of months that I feel like I might be getting disowned by that high school down the street, my alma mater. I might have to test out how Ram Green looks on me. All right. So listen. I am so incredibly proud of my friends, Mr. Kelly, my friends at UMES and the Manners program. Karl, you're doing such a fantastic job down there and helping to raise Wicomico County kids up and think about a future in agriculture. It's really fantastic, and there is a future there. My brother, we did not grow up on a farm, and he chose to go into agriculture. He is a corn and soybean farmer here in Wicomico County. My dad chose a career in agriculture, 38 years with Purdue Farms. There is a future there, and your eye is on your career already, which means you are steps ahead of so many other young people, and you ought to be proud of yourselves. I know I'm proud of you. I was just this week, I got to host a group of young, early career to mid-career professionals in the Lead Maryland program. Anybody heard of that? They're incredible people. But having been around you, members of FFA, here at Parkside CTE multiple times, they don't hold a candle to you. You are incredible. They're fantastic too, but you are incredible, and you have such a bright future. And let me share something with you. There's a guy in the back of the room here, Dave Ryan, who is the executive director of our Salisbury-Wicomico Economic Development Corporation. And if I've learned one thing from Dave, it's that a job that you have in your community is worth 100 jobs you can chase from some other community. Hold on to those jobs. And I'm convinced if we keep producing young leaders for ag and resource industries like you, putting you out into the workforce right here in our community, all those superlatives we heard, this being the most agriculturally productive community in Maryland or county in Maryland, in a state where agriculture is the #1 industry, in the breadbasket of the Mid-Atlantic, we're going to keep all those titles. We're going to hold on to them, thanks to you. I believe in you. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you, and I want to share this. And I promise I won't read the whole proclamation. But because of all those wonderful things, I, Jacob Day, Mayor of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim Thursday, November 9th, 2017, as Parkside CTE Horticulture Future Farmers of America Chapter Day in our city, with congratulations for receiving the prestigious National Quality Standards Award from the Maryland FFA Association, FFA Association, with gratitude for the positive impact the school's A-plus Garden Center has had on our community, and with sincere best wishes for continued success of the horticulture program, FFA chapter, and the Garden Center.
We get a chance here to see, thousands of people come to the A-plus Garden Center to support us. However, one of our main initiatives is to go out into our community and see exactly what you guys are doing. And that has been, actually now, we have two centers. We have the A-plus Garden Center and we have the Project Localize, which is important to us. And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind if all the farmers and beekeepers in the audience would stand up, all of you guys that work in agriculture. If you guys wouldn't mind standing up, you guys that are out on the farm. If everyone could stand up. We really appreciate, most of myself and like Mayor Day was saying, we didn't grow up on a farm. A lot of our students, we didn't grow up on a farm. However, we're finding out real quick, and we're learning a lot by the visits that we make to our local producers and growers. And what we do is we bring that information back, and our students do research and see how we can integrate and implement those processes and procedures in our own production facility. So, and as well, we really appreciate you being part of the life of our program here. So I want to thank all the farmers and the producers and everybody that's invited us into their life. And if anybody would like to have us come visit, we are always available to visit. So with that, thank you all very much.
Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Jason Watt, yeah. There you are.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. And yeah, it looks like we've picked the right school this year to have this event after all their national accomplishments and state accomplishments. But first, I'd like to introduce have our board directors stand up: Dave, Terry, Mark, Bill, Les, Ron, all those. Us as board directors, we're in charge of the money part of this. We take the donations of the community that give us the donations, and we funnel it directly to the FFA Association to help pay for those national trips, the state events, the stuff that these young agriculture members do every day, grants in the schools. So I want all the FFA members to stand up. Those over there, the association members, they need to stand up now, because that is where the money is going to. So, the money that we get in donations, that's where it goes to, those kids. So, I'd like to thank Parkside High for hosting us, and obviously I'm the last person on the docket, so I'm holding everybody up from dinner, and I know I don't want to do that, so I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Everybody got a pamphlet at the door. If you want to donate to the foundation, we'd appreciate it. We'd love to have the money. Like I said, it's going back to these kids, and I won't hold us up from dinner any much longer. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, so I just got the word that the chef is ready for us, and we really appreciate the culinary department. And Jason, thank you so very much. At this time, I would like to invite our good friend, Mr. Martin Hutchison, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
I'm supposed to pray, and I'll do that in a minute, but I just want to take a moment and say thank you to Jerry Kelly. You guys, we in this county and the students in the CTE program are so fortunate to have him. It is incredible what he is doing here. I watched a TED Talk by Stephen Ritz in New York City, who is doing some phenomenal things there, and I thought we needed to bring him here to SU to teach us what we could do with the power of plants. And then I met Jerry Kelly, and I realized we don't need to bring anybody here. He's already here doing it. And Jerry, just keep it up. Let's pray. Creator God, we see the evidence of your creation and your hand at work in so many ways in our world. And we pause now to recognize it. In the beginning of the day, the sun comes up without fail, and then it goes down at the end of the day. And you created that time frame. We see the beauty of the fall leaves right now, and we're awed by the beauty of your creation. We see the power of a little teeny tiny seed that when it's planted in a ground, in some soil and given some water and some sun, it produces a bounty that we can enjoy, that we can eat, that can produce all kinds of energy and ability in us. We see in these students a creative ability to co-create with you, and you've given that to all of us, and so we give you thanks for that. We thank you, too, for the opportunity to gather here and celebrate with Parkside FFA. We thank you for the food that is been prepared and that will strengthen us, that we might enjoy another day in your world. We thank you for who you are and what you do in our world and in our lives. And we pray your blessing on our time together tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.